quarter, we have taken impairment of rupees 19.60 crore on account of binding contracts for disposal of our investment in subsidiary Century Singapore Private Limited, which was holding inoperative overseas assets at Laos. Apart from this, we have also taken 4.46 crore impairment in respect of one more subsidiary, Century Infotech Limited, as its business is also non-operational. With these impairments now, company is now not left out with any asset requiring impairment. During the quarter, the scheme of hiving off of CFS division to 100% SPV was finally approved by NCLT and given effect from appointed date 1st April 22. During the year, Greenfield Laminate and MDF units at Andhra Pradesh set up by company's wholly owned subsidiary Century Panel Limited commenced operations. Operations at both the units are gradually picking up. The industry, our industry, is facing increasing trend in cost of principal raw material timber, which cannot be passed on fully in view of sluggish demand, so profitability will remain moderate. In case of MDF industry, is facing oversupply caused by recent addition of capacities, which are still to be absorbed by the market. Going forward, for current financial year, we expect double-digit top-line growth across all segments, while plywood segment is likely to grow nearly by 10%, with EBITDA margin ranging between 12 to 14%. Other segments will book higher growth by utilizing recently added new capacities. Laminate, with addition of capacity at Andhra, is likely to grow at 20%, with EBITDA margins ranging from 10 to 12%. MDF also, with addition of capacity at Andhra, is likely to grow at 40%, with EBITDA margin of 15%. We expect new ongoing capacity of particle board at Chennai to commence operations by end of current financial year. If it happens early, we may have a better growth. Otherwise, particle board will remain flat. For looking after our MDF and particle board businesses, we have appointed Mr. Sumant Vattas as CEO. Mr. Sumant has been partner with BCG, Boston Consulting Group, and has been associated with our consultancy projects for the last 4 years. He brings industry as well as professional expertise. With this, I rest my opening remarks and invite questions from you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Each participant is requested to limit himself or herself to a maximum of 2 questions. Time permitting, we shall reward for any further questions that you may have, which remain unanswered. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Keshav Lahoti from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, Keshav. Yes.
So remember in last call, the laminate outlook was we are expecting, to be back to 13 to 16% in 2 to 4 quarters, the guidance was. But now laminate's margin earlier, you used to guide 12, now you're guiding 10 to 12. There is a sharp drop in, margin guidance. So what has changed in the industry scenario?
So hi, Keshav here. I'd like to address that. You see, in laminate, there's going to be a gradual ramp up of the capacity that we have taken up in Andhra Pradesh. If you look at last quarter also, we had been 12% plus. There was a one-time exceptional write-off, which was because of an entry tax case, which was quite a few years earlier. So because of that, the EBITDA margin is looking at sub 10%. Otherwise, if you take that 2.8% impact, we are 12.4%. However, the Andhra capacity is going to ramp up gradually, and towards the same, because the capacity has a very high interest depreciation factor and high fixed overhead, we have guided for a lower EBITDA margin. In steady state without Andhra, our margins will be anywhere between 12 to 14%.
Okay, got it. So H2 should be like 12 to 15%, right way to see H2 FY25?
It will increase as Andhra scales up, but for the entire year, we are looking at 10 to 12%.
Got it. And Andhra would be a export-focused plant, right?
Yes. Andhra would be predominantly export-focused.
Got it. So normally, export margins would be better for you versus domestic?
We would have similar margins, but considering that these are large-size compact laminates, there is a chance that margins could be slightly better going forward.
Got it. And particle board, in your opening commentary, you said the flattest revenue in FY25.
Particle board, we have said flattest revenue because we are hoping or expecting that the new line comes into operation by Q4 of this year. However, as we have seen recently, that due to this entire issue of Chinese technicians and engineers not getting visas, plants have been getting deferred by a few months. So if the plant comes into operation, we will definitely have a 25% growth every year. However, if the plant takes a little time or it comes into operation towards the end of Q4, then this year will be flattish and we'll get the benefit of the new plant from next year onwards.
Got it. Understood. One last question from my side. What is the ad spend for this year?
We have always had a targeted spend of close to 4%, and we are going to be within the same bracket.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Next question is from the line of Praveen Sahai from Prabhudas Lilladher, India. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. Sir, can you give the capacity for the laminate right now?
Capacity for laminates. Just a second.
Yes, just give me a second. You're asking for overall capacity?
Yeah, overall capacity right now.
So our overall capacity, yes, post Andhra would be, just 1 second. This is all on rated capacity basis. We will get you the data. Mr. Vinay Ganeshwal, who's sitting with us, will share the data shortly.
Oh, okay. And yeah, should I go ahead for second question?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the next question is related to the plywood. And in the plywood, as you have guided for a 10% of growth in the revenue. So how is the capacity, the capacity and the capacity utilization you are looking at, and also the plant capacity at the Punjab when it is expected to come?
So the Punjab plant is still on the hold. Actually, we are not making much of a progress because of the raw material situation there in Punjab, and the future there also still looks bleak. So the Punjab plant may or may not come up. But otherwise also the plywood capacity plywood capacity is actually we had at a utilization of 87% in Q4. And for the whole year, we have used 81% of the capacity. So we still have possibility of increasing it by 10% this year. So as far as capacity is concerned, there is no problem.
Okay, and related to the margin in this segment itself, if I look at your commentary, which is like a facing increased trend in the raw material.
I'm unable to hear you. Please be little louder.
Yeah, so related to the margin in the plywood itself. As you had mentioned earlier in the commentary that facing increasing trend in the raw material, still you are guiding for 12 to 14% of a margin profile.
Yes.
So how is possible? With the you are expecting some price hike or some product mix changes. What exactly you are looking at to deliver on the higher side of the margin?
You see, as far as our plywood is concerned, we are able to pass on some of the cost rises. Like even in this May, even in this market, we have taken a 2% price rise. So, and even last year, there has been some price cost rise as far as the raw material is concerned, but still we have been able to deliver the EBITDA. So, and because it is a branded product, it's possible. We have delivered it in the past, so we are quite confident that within this year also we'll be be able to pass. We'll be able to deliver. There is one more thing. You see, our capacity utilization goes higher and higher. It makes a little bit of a difference as far as the costs are also concerned. I hope you understand that.
Okay.
So the capacity utilization from 80, it goes to say 88% or 89%. That makes a difference to our bottom line.
Oh, okay. And for a full year, how much of the price hike you have taken in the plywood?
Last year, we have taken, just a second, I have the letter.
Praveen, do you have any follow-up question?
I have one.
Last year, we have taken 2% price rise.
Okay, sir. So last questions are related to your MDF, because if I look at your EBIT margin and EBITDA margin, there is a good amount of a difference. So is it only because of a new plant coming and depreciation numbers is on the higher side?
Can you repeat the question, please?
So for this quarter, if I look at your EBIT margin is nearly around 10% and EBITDA margin is around 16.5%. So there is a good amount of depreciation is there in this quarter. So is it because of the Andhra unit which has commissioned, or how to read these numbers?
Yes, you are talking of which figure? You are talking of consolidated figure or standalone?
No. I am talking only about the MDF segment.
MDF figure from our PPT.
Yes. So MDF figure from your PPT as well as from result update.
Our PPT figures are standalone figures. So any depreciation of new plant is not factored in that.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. I'll come in queue.
Thank you very much.
MDF
Next question is on the line of Chirag Jain from Yogya Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Sir, I was trying to more understand on the MDF side, which we are expanding into. The other players also are expanding into the same thing which you are trying to do. So, what are you looking forward for FY25 and 26 in terms of MDF segment? That was my first question on.
Hi. I think that if you look at MDF, for the coming year, our prime objective is going to be ramp up capacity utilization of the newly commissioned capacity in Andhra Pradesh. And I think we are very well poised to deliver a strong growth in the market, because still now we are focused on only the north market. This is because of us having capacity only in the north. Now with the south plant becoming operational, I think we can rapidly ramp up capacity. Next year, the objective, of course, will be to reach as close to full utilization of the expanded capacity as possible.
So don't you see something of pricing pressure coming up in the market due to huge capacity coming into the market into the same year, and everybody trying to ramp up their capacity the same year?
I think that yes, there will be pricing pressure. But when you look at MDF, you need to look at it with a holistic picture. Today, if you look at the total capacity, I have seen that most people look at total capacity regardless of whether it is a continuous press or it is a multi-glide press. In MDF, as you very well know, there is a clear 10 to 15% EBITDA difference between a continuous line and a multi-ply press. So when we are talking about huge capacity additions, we should also factor in that at current EBITDA margins, it will be very difficult for multi-ply players to survive. So going forward, if we only count the continuous capacity that is there in India, I think sooner rather than later, we will have equilibrium between demand and supply. So we have to see how it plays out. But for Century, we have always been able to ramp up our capacity faster than the industry. And I'm sure this trend will continue.
Without changing the realizations?
The realizations have dropped, and we will change the realizations as and when the market dictates the same. I think that is something beyond your or my control. So going forward, we'll play it by the year. But yes, I'm fairly confident that we'll achieve the guidance that we have given.
Okay. Also, second question was on the pre-lam side. We have higher realizations in the pre-lam side. So why don't we focus on that side?
I think we do focus on that side. And we don't only have higher realizations in pre-lam, we also have higher realizations across a range of products. For instance, our Premium Plus, which is a value-added product, has a far higher realization than DIR. So there's a continuous exercise to grow across our value-added products, and we have been doing year after year, quarter after quarter. You will see the trend continue.
Yeah. So what would be the margin difference between a plain MDF and a pre-lam MDF?
We don't share that data.
Okay. Thanks enough. Second question was on the plywood side. The plywood industry of the unorganized segment is lying almost 40% idle. So why don't we acquire some of them rather than expanding on our own?
See, the kind of industries being small units are today, the kind of quality we make, it is impossible to manufacture that kind of a quality in these small units. So we were discussing even internally that people must be wondering why don't we acquire, but there is no reason for us to acquire anymore.
Okay. Sir, last question before I get back in the queue. Can you please confirm the Andhra plant is coming up with the pre-lam MDF or the plain MDF?
We are coming up with every form of MDF, including pre-lam. So you will see the Andhra plant having every SKU and every variety.
Sorry to interrupt you. May I request you to speak a little louder, please?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now better.
Yes. The Andhra plant will have pre-lam and every other possible value-added product in MDF.
Thanks. I will get back in the queue. Thanks for the information. Thank you.
Thank you. Requesting participants to restrict to 2 questions per participant. Next question is from the line of Souvik Mohanty from Nuvama Wealth. Please go ahead. The line for the participant dropped. We move on to the next participant. The next question is from the line of Aditya Pal from MSA Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, Aditya. You are.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity. Just sir, quickly wanted to understand the split for laminates revenue between export and domestic.
Currently, our total split would be less than 25% towards export, 75% domestic.
Okay. And sir, if just wanted to get a bit on the qualitative side of things, how is the laminates revenue looking in the domestic market? Do you see a strong pickup? Which are the growth pockets? And what would be the on the competition side, how would things be panning out?
So yes, from Q2 we do see a strong growth. Q1 I think could be a little affected because due to the election season, demand has been a little sluggish in laminates domestically. Q2 onwards, we are definitely seeing a strong growth. We are launching a new catalog with regards to our 1 segment, which will help us. We are also launching 12 cubicles as a result of the new capacity that has been commissioned in Andhra Pradesh. As such, overall, we are looking at 20% plus growth for the year as a whole with flattish Q1.
And sir, bit on are you seeing an increase in competitive intensity from the existing players? And second, sir, for Century going forward for laminate segment, do you see exports being a bigger growth lever than domestic?
Currently, considering that the base of exports is small, yes, the percentage of growth in exports is likely to be higher. This is also due to the fact that the under capacity is predominantly dedicated towards exports with two larger size vessels, but domestic shall also grow at a very healthy clip. So we are seeing growth in both, but you're right, the percentage may increase a little more towards export.
Understood. And so any color on the competition?
I think laminate has always been a very competitive industry, but considering the current scenario, it is very similar to what it was earlier. It has not changed too much, but yes, we are working towards further differentiating our product categories to stand out more in the market and gaining some of the market share that we have perhaps lost in the domestic market in the past year.
Understood. Thank you so much. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Ahmed from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, just one question on the plywood side. One point is just to understand your assumptions of 10% top line growth. What would be the value and volume you have building?
This 10% projection is on the value side.
Yeah, so volume would be like 7-8% and similar to 3% price increase usually.
It should be about 8.5%. Yeah.
Okay. And on the plywood side, you indicated of EBITDA margin anywhere between 12 to 14%. That assumption is more to look at the full year numbers of FY24 when we were building in, because Q4 of exit has been, I know there is a seasonality, but Q4 has been about 15% or so. So it's more broadly.
What happens, you see in Q4, there are always some additions, some subtractions, some things were provided a little higher earlier, you make credits, or they were not provided and you debit. And there was some, advertisement expenditures were little lesser in Q4. Production was little higher than probably usual. But you have seen that for last so many years we are maintaining this 12 to 14%, and we have been very consistent. So that's why we believe. Otherwise, the way the things have changed with MDF, from where to where the things have come. So market forces can force anybody to accept anything actually. But in plywood, because of our brand, we have been able to maintain the EBITDA. Yeah. In some quarter, it might be a little higher or lower, but on an average, it will be between 12 to 14.
And second question is on MDF. Similar, 40% growth, largely volume led because there is competition. So we've seen a realization drop. Do you think that should continue?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question.
So I'm saying the assumption of 40% growth in MDF for next year, that is largely volume back, right?
Yes.
Or do you expect a realization decline and the volumes could be higher than this?
The assumption is 40% on value growth. Considering that realizations will be lower, volumes will be higher than 40%.
Okay. And similar on the EBITDA margin, when you look at exit of Q4, it's about 16%, and we are guiding for 15%. So are you looking at significant competitive intensity higher? That assumption is pretty.
The new capacity that comes into play will take some time to ramp up. So that is the first point. And secondly, timber prices have been elevated for some time now, and we don't see any reason for them to correct within the near term, say within this year. So due to these two factors, I think the margin of 15% is something that we can target. Going forward with the implementation of BIS in February next year and an easing of timber prices gradually, perhaps in the next year, we should look at better margins.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Rajesh Kumar Ravi from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sir, I have three questions. First, could you discuss on the timber prices? How are they in the north and south, and what is the outlook? And second is on the
answering, it will be better because otherwise I will forget your question.
Okay, sure.
Timber price difference is about 1 rupee between south and north. South is cheaper and north is more expensive. And the north prices run faster, so first they increase and then the south catches up. That is how it has been happening till now.
And what is that outlook, sir? When do you expect the prices to stabilize or see a pullback?
I don't see in at least next 18 months, we really don't see that the prices should correct, because there was a gap in between in plantation because the prices had gone too low and the farmers were not planting. Somewhere, I think around 22, they have again restarted planting. So we expect that maybe in 25 and maybe of 26 beginning, we should start getting that plantation, 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why actually that gap has to be there.
So the whole of FY25 and...
interrupt you. May I request you to speak a little away from
Just 1 second.
Your voice is coming a little muffled.
Yeah, is it better now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, sir, you expect this FY26 also the gross margin for the industry to be under pressure because of predominantly...
I cannot comment on FY26 till now.
Mm-hmm.
For FY25, we are very sure that there cannot be big changes.
Mm-hmm.
FY26, there could be changes, you see, we do not know.
Okay.
Like for plywood, the core, the prices have not really gone up too much because import started. The prices of local core went up so high that the import started and that has stopped any increase in the core prices.
Mm-hmm.
So that might happen with MDF also, but we do not know at this juncture. That is not clear to any of us.
Mm-hmm. And sir, what is your net debt outlook given the ongoing expansions, and how much is the total capex you have outlined in the around 500 to 600 crore for FY25?
The capex guidance is already given in the industry.
Yeah, right. Okay. So net debt, how are you looking at this number to increase?
I think that in terms of our debt projections, we have a very healthy internal cash flow generation.
Mm-hmm.
And from here on, the only substantial capex that you are seeing is the Chennai project. So if you factor that in, I don't see a very substantial addition going forward.
Mm-hmm. So around 400-500 crore addition would be possible this year on a net basis?
Therefore, we'll be able to get back to you with that data.
Sure.
Offline.
And last question is on the margin outlook for MDF and PV. I understand these two sectors are under pressure, but 15%, is it a conservative, or do you see, because if you as a market leader, you and the other players talking about 15% margin for the MDF, isn't it, a very grim scenario?
To be honest, we have to give guidance as per the current demand situation in the market and as per the prevalent market forces. As per that, yes, 15% is what we are realistically seeing. It is not conservative, not aggressive, and we are going to attempt to achieve the same. Regarding the rest of the market, I think as you go for the year, you'll get further clarity on the same.
Sure. So last question on the particle board, which is a sizable project, and given that two other projects one more project will be ramping up at similar times, what could be the utilization ramp up? Will it be like 70% utilization? It will take 3 years, 4 years? What is your initial
data? But our capacity utilization has always been far better than the industry. And I think in particular, that is what you will see again.
Okay. Great, sir. I'll come back in queue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants are requested to restrict to 2 questions per participant. Next question is from the line of Souvik Mohanty from Nuvama Wealth. Please go ahead.
Hello. Sorry for the issue earlier. The line got disconnected. Thank you for the opportunity. I had only one question. In the fourth quarter, there was an increase in margins of ply, whereas the timber prices, which is common for both MDF and plywood, this has improved for plyboard versus MDF, it has declined. Is there any particular reason?
Timber consumed in MDF and plywood are different. The timber consumed in MDF is only 3 to 4 years old, whereas the timber consumed in plywood is at least 7 years old. And that is why the purchase prices are also quite different in both the cases. In plywood, timber prices, what had happened, it increased, the prices of core increased, and immediately import of core has started from many countries, from Asia, from Vietnam, or from even including Brazil, they have started exporting to. So that's why the prices of the core and thus the prices of the timber both got registered, and they have been restricted now wherever they are. So not much price increase has happened during last 7-8 months. And in plywood, there is one more thing. It is a branded product. So we are able to pass on some, at least if not the full cost, we are able to pass on some of the cost to the consumer also. It does not depend whether local plywood unit in the Nagar increases their price or not. Still, we can increase to some extent. So that is why both the timber prices increase does not really result into the same kind of result. Hope you got it.
Yes, sir. Very fair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Bhavin Rupani from Investec India. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you so much for the
question. Hi, Mr. Rupani.
Bhavin, sorry to interrupt you. Can you please speak through the handset?
Am I audible now?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes. Sir, as per media reports, unorganized players in South has taken some 5 to 7% price hikes recently. Do we plan to take any price hikes in plywood segment?
See, small plywood manufacturers have been announcing these increases in last 1.5 years. They have increased their prices many times. But we know for sure that those prices have really not been affected in the market. They announce, but then ultimately everybody has to sell in the market, and there are more than 1,000 sellers in the market. So the prices have not increased. As far as we are concerned, yes, we have taken a price rise of 2% from 1st of May, effective 1st of May.
So what you're saying is unorganized players have been announcing price hikes, but they are rolling it back. Is that
yes, they always fall back. They try to insist, but because that it is a segmented seller situation. So in that, actually, it has never been possible for them to increase the price. That is the story in last 2 to 3 years.
Okay, got it, sir. Sir, as far as plywood is concerned, what would be our proportion of scenic and non-scenic volumes? Or is it possible to share?
That actually we have never shared because it is a competitive information. So it is better we don't share. It is good for our health.
Fair enough, sir. Is it possible to share the growth rates, if not the volumes? What is going faster?
Overall growth rate is about 10%. So last year, I think we had clocked about 7.5% or 8%, something like that. This year, it will be about 10%.
For scenic,
we are trying for more, but we are committing to 10.
This was about scenic, sir?
No, I am saying overall.
Okay. Is it possible to bifurcate between scenic and non-scenic?
No, it is not. Always the scenic will be little more than the prime material, but then I am unable to divert the percentage.
All right. Got it, sir. Sir,
I am happy to note that you have understood and you remember the different brands, scenic and prime.
Yeah. Sir, as far as particle boards is concerned, we have mentioned 25% volume growth of particle boards. So when do we expect our new plant to be commissioned?
Our expectation is that the new plant will commence within Q4 and should give us some traction in Q4 itself. However, considering the fact that there have been certain delays, including in our MDF project, because of restrictions that have been placed on movement of individuals, particularly with regards to any machinery coming in from China, we are a little cautious on that front. If the plant comes in operation towards the back end of Q3 or the early part of Q4, we should be able to achieve this growth. However, if the plant is deferred, then we might see the benefit only next year, and this year could remain flattish.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Utkarsh Nopani from BOB Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Utkarsh. Yes.
Yeah. So my first question is on the depreciation policy. So if I see our depreciation rate has gone down from 6.3% in FY22 to 4.6% in FY24. And this might be due to the commissioning of our laminate and MDF project towards end of Q4 FY24. So if you can guide us, what would be our quarterly depreciation run rate from this June quarter onwards, and what would be our normal depreciation rate on a sustainable basis going forward?
I cannot reply your question instantly because the appreciation you see in the results is average of depreciation on various assets. So it depends upon the type of assets additions. And apart from this, you are talking about which figure? You are talking about standalone figures or consolidated figures?
So I'm talking about consolidated figures. I'm just giving you a sense over the last 3 years.
In case of consolidated figures, the depreciation figure has come down because the depreciation charge is only proportionate. Because operations of India plant have started in March only, so the depreciation charge in books is only for few days of the parts. So next year from Q1 onward, it will be for the whole quarter.
Yeah. So can you give some sense, like what would be the quarterly depreciation run rate since we have done largely most of our capex? So what would be the run rate from June quarter onward?
But I will have to calculate what will be full depreciation for the quarter, and then I'll be able to tell.
Sir, why I am asking, sir, because we have done a capex of 1,500 crore. Our gross block has more than doubled, but our depreciation expense on an annual basis has hardly gone up by 25 crore over the last 2-3 years period.
I'm telling the depreciation for the new plant is charged only for few days. So we are seeing the block figure for the whole year. Block figure is all on date. The depreciation is for the period only. On the existing asset, it was for 365 days, whereas for new additions, it was only for 2 days.
Fine, sir. So my second question is we saw that our laminate sales volume has gone down on a Q1Q basis, despite we have started our greenfield unit in AP. Can you please explain the rationale for that? And what would be our current capacity utilization of our AP laminate and MDF plant in the month of May? And at what operating rate our AP laminate and MDF unit is likely to become break-even at EBITDA level, and by when it is likely to be achieved?
So you've asked 4 questions. I'll go one by one. In Q4, if you look at it overall, it was not a very good quarter for us, and there were certain challenges with regards to some export markets. Due to that, the volume figure is lower. However, quarter on quarter, the revenue figure is higher because domestic has a higher realization for us than export. Secondly, with regards to new capacity coming into play, any new capacity that you bring into the market takes some time. There are teething issues that take place, and it has taken us some time to ramp up the capacity in Andhra as far as laminate is concerned. We should get the benefit of that within the current quarter and going forward. From next quarter onwards, we are likely to get a good benefit out of the same. Regarding both laminate and the MDF unit, we are likely to be at a EBITDA positive level within H2 of this year itself. Exact figures I don't have with me.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next follow-up question is from the line of Keshav Lahoti from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for the follow-up opportunity.
Yeah.
Firstly, just want a clarification on ply side. So what I've understood, the ply price hike has been 2% in Q4 as well as FY24. So FY24 should be higher than 2%. And what has been the price hike in May month for ply?
You see, the last price hike, I think, in this year we have taken on 1st of May, but effective 1st of May, it has been already affected on all our sales from 1st of May. In last year, I think we did not take in Q4. It was taken sometime in July. It was taken in July 23.
Okay, understood. Got it. Yeah. And how has been the progress on semi laminate side?
Just a second, Keshav.
In semi laminate, we are still trying to ramp up our volume. As of now, I would say that we have only launched in a few markets, and we have decided to hold the launch in further markets till we are able to get a concrete strategy. We are working on it. I think this year we should see far more traction in semi laminate.
Okay, so the traction is taken longer than what you might have earlier anticipated. So you were
much longer.
Got it. Understood. And what might be the key reason for this? What are the key takeaways so far?
I think any new product category will take time to learn. Century has always been a player in the premium segment, when you're entering a new segment, it does take some time. But hopefully, we will follow in the success of selling plywood, which, as you know, has been a revolution. It is taking some time, but we will crack the formula sooner rather than later.
Got it. And what sort of capacity utilization you are anticipating for AP MDF plant in this year?
I can say for the overall capacity utilization for MDF, we will be looking at close to 70% utilization of the total capacity.
Okay.
It's difficult to segment it because certain markets will move from north to south catchment depending on the profitability. As you know, the timber price in the south is a little lower, so we are rehashing some markets.
Okay, got it. That is quite helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Next follow-up question is from the line of Bhavin Rupani from Investec India. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the follow-up. So can you provide the status of all the ongoing projects and what is the expected commissioning timelines?
So as far as the ongoing projects, I'll tell you all the major projects. The laminate project in Andhra Pradesh has been commissioned. The first 2 presses have been commissioned. The MDF project in Andhra Pradesh has been commissioned. The PVC project that we have undertaken in Andhra Pradesh has been commissioned. And the large project that we're looking at, particle board, is likely to be commissioned within Q4 of this year, as we've already mentioned in the call. The plywood decision, as the MD has already stated, will be taken after some more due diligence. We still have excess capacity, and we are planning for where to set up the new plywood unit. So this is the status of all expansion.
Got it, sir. So next question is related to MDF. So we have been guiding 15% margins in FY25 versus approximately 17% that we clocked in Q4. So do we expect any price cuts over here, or is it due to higher raw material costs that you expect?
There has already been a certain price cut as far as the north market is concerned, and in the south as well. Once we have launched new capacity in Andhra Pradesh, we are now more in line with the south pricing. As you know, it is not going to be a big impact on EBITDA because the south cost will also be lower than the north. However, considering the current competitive landscape and considering that we have just set up our largest capacity and we will be ramping it gradually over the course of the year, I think the 15% is a fair ranking.
All right, that is helpful, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Thank you very much. That was the last question in the queue. As there are no further questions, I would now like to end the conference over to Mr. Sanjay Agarwal for closing comments.
Thank you. Thanks to each one for attending the call. Looking forward to a better and more promising 24-25. See you next quarter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of SKP Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.